Stream to your button too. Absolutely. Hey, everybody. Super excited to have my friends Adam here from, where are you from? Out of Washington?
Mill Creek,
Yeah.
Washington. So I'm kind of northeast of Seattle.
They're
So
fabulous.
so I've got mountains in my views.
That's awesome. And then we've got infamous Mike Merrick from Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Jennifer, Adam, and everyone. Good to be here.
Yeah, glad to have everybody here. Fabulous. Well, so talk to me. So today we're going over marketing, extravagant marketing, brand marketing, and selling tips and techniques, right, to get your home sold for the most money possible. So I'm glad to have my two experts, and I plan to take lots of notes and learn from you guys. So I'm excited to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to be here too. This is fun.
Yeah, awesome. So do you want to start with like a funny story, an embarrassing story, something you've had to deal with?
Well, so I was thinking about that, because I was saying before, like I do all the training and all the kind of operations in my office. So I'm not out in the field a whole lot. But I was thinking about one time that I did get out in the field recently with an agent. There's this house that was hilarious that he was selling. It was a mid-century modern down by the SeaTac airport. And the person who ran it was a combination of just really hyper customization of the house and a little bit of creepiness. The two things that really stood out to me were, number one, we had in the bedroom, she was a dancer and she had to stay tan all the time. So she had a button next to her bed, and when you pressed it, tanning lights descended from the ceiling all the way down over the bed, so she could tan, and then press it all the way back up. So that was really cool. So that was about the most interesting thing I've seen in a house. And then the creepy thing was she had a room in the basement with about 150 Elmo dolls that when you walked in there, just felt like they wanted to wake up and take you out.
Yeah. I had a listing with a Chucky doll, like a life-size Chucky doll, and a doll, and it must have been some from another. I don't watch horror movies, but another one that was like somebody in a wedding, but it was like all blood. She had a thing in her head. I'm like, I was scared. What about you, Mike?
I've got a story that can't be beat. One Sunday years ago, I walked in to show a house. The parents knew we were coming. They went to church. The teenage son, the college student, didn't know we were coming. So we get to the bedroom, open the door, and there he is with his girlfriend doing the horizontal mambo. So what do? You had to think quick. Right next to me when I walked in the room is a desk. There's a stack of paper on it and a Sharpie next to it. So I grabbed the Sharpie, write a score, and hold the score up over my head.
Oh, my good Lord. Did you really?
I will never forget that one.
How was that taken?
They kind of just looked at me and, they were embarrassed, and they covered up, and we went to the next room.
That is hilarious.
It was the last time I ever showed my daughter's home, but
buttering. It's always funny. I always say, if we could take all of our stories and write down like 2 stories a year that are real, actual stories, that are crazy stories, and we put it together, we would make the most interesting book, and the general public would never believe it. I mean, it is.
Absolutely.
Everything that we see is insane. Okay, let's look. CEO says, hello, friends. And then she gives a shout out to Mike that Mike has the best stories. So, and
unfortunately, they're true.
Well, you've got really good storytelling abilities. So let's dive into marketing and brand marketing. And who wants to start?
Well, Adam, go for it.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can start. So I talk a lot about branding in my office. I'm kind of the lead trainer for especially for the new agent, onboarding and things like that. We do a whole marketing 101 class in our office where we do a 4-week marketing course, and branding is a big part of it. And so, and I've been thinking a little bit about this kind of the lead up to the show, kind of how I teach branding. And, one of the things about branding that I think is really important is to kind of understand where it comes in the framework of setting up your business. And so, a lot of people don't kind of get where to kind of work it in. They just kind of think, okay, I'm going to go sell houses and I'm going to put up a website and that'll be it. Right. Or they're going to come up with like the most magical logo on the face of the planet. And they're going to call that their brand. And, and so, for me, branding is so much of it's the manifestation of really what your business and also what your personal mission is. And if you don't get clear on your business and personal mission, then you'll never get clear on your branding. And behind the business and personal mission is, kind of really your personal why, and getting really clear on that. And so, when I teach branding, I really start from, a really personal level. I'm trying to understand why people are involved in what they're doing, whether it's, again, full time, I'm here and working in a real estate office. And I also work with entrepreneurs in other industries. And that's the biggest thing I do, is really just have them make sure they're 100% clear on their kind of personal whys and why they're, how that influences kind of their mission in the world. And so, and I always tell them, especially on the real estate side, I said, I say, hey, your brand is not, I love to sell homes. It's something deeper than that. It's something that people can resonate with, that you really need to discover. And so we really take our time to really think about that. And so branding is really, for me, really kind of an early on when you talk about the business setup pipeline. And so if you think of your business as, a pipeline where leads come rushing in on one side and they trickle out the other side, and there's all these little leaks along the way that may leak them out. Brand is a really early leak that you got to kind of, make sure you plug that leak really well to make sure that everything else flows through well, because your website, your social media messaging, your the emails you send, the way you talk to people, the way you are in your community, everything revolves around, what you kind of decide what your brand is going to be and kind of how you're going to put yourself out there.
So Adam, this might completely put you on the spot. And so if
Sure.
it does, you could just say, pause, let me think about it. But can you give us an example, like of one that you've done, like a why, and then how you followed that through with the branding?
Well, so I always like to give people the example, say like, what if I was going to do it, like if I was going to put myself out there, in this, so I'd think a little about, what are the passions that I have? Why did I move, for example, to the Pacific Northwest 10 years ago? Because I love the outdoors. I love trail running. I love the trails. I love all that stuff. I'm a very big family person. I love my kids, love my wife, everything I do. And everything I do every day, I want to represent myself in a way that makes my family proud. And so I have all these kind of personal whys wrapped up into what I do. And so then I would take that and I would build a business around reaching out to similar people like that. So, I would seek out kind of, I guess, people who have the same values that I have. And some of the tactical things I would do, like on a website, right? You'd have pages, here's all the trails that are near the great neighborhoods that you might want to live in, come find me and I'll tell you about them. My social media might be full of, here's all the great outdoors places that are in Washington. I spent so much time in my early time here in Washington just exploring everywhere, because it was like one giant vacation for me. And so I probably know more about a lot of the local trails and people who have been here for 30 years. So I spent a lot of time I would spend a lot of time building websites and building media and resources in ways that I could attract other people that were like me, that we could really connect on, and then, and kind of make a deeper relationship than just a transactional relationship.
I would love it. Okay. So Mike, talk to us. You
All
said
right.
you built businesses based on branding, marketing and branding.
20 years in the branding business before I got my real estate license. And the reason I came to Remax 23 years ago was for one main reason, and that's that big old beautiful balloon. That is our start to branding. All right. It's a 4-tier process. You start out with awareness, and when we all started, we had zero awareness.
That's right.
So you got the logo. That's your entry into the game. So you want to take that logo, create awareness, which will lead to recognition. Once you establish the recognition, then your goal is to reach recall. You want your name to be real estate in your market. The optimum goal is to reach top of mind. All right. After you've got your recall, people know who you are, what you are. And then when they think about real estate, they think about you. How do we do that? Well, I do a number of different things. Now, those of you who know me know I have a little bit off the wall kind of humor. There's a reason for that. You know why? People remember it.
Yeah.
All right. How many of you know or remember R4 2 years ago when Flo Rida was one of our entertainers? How many of you remember said person creating a Flo Yo video and put on the R4 site prior to going to R4? Well, guess what? That created the recall.
Yeah.
And so then I met people, they were familiar with me for that. And that's part of my deal.
Okay.
Now, locally, my wife, Liz, has her license. We're known as Spouses Selling Houses. And that goes a long way for recall. You know, we're constantly recreating the recognition. Now, a lot of you are in markets where you have a tremendous brand representation with the Remax logo. We're not so fortunate in Atlanta anymore. Back during the recession, we lost basically almost all of our market share.
Oh, wow.
So we're clawing our way back, but we don't have that dominant presence we once did. So what do we do locally? All right, Spouses Selling Houses is wonderful. You got to get it out there. Every time I go out in public, most of the time, I'm wearing the logo, right? Wear the shirts, wear the hats. All right. When I do swag, and this is important for everybody, when you do swag for people, be it at open houses, be it at Remax events, be it at other conventions, do something that's going to have the recall. That recall will lead to top of mind. For example, how many of you remember this guy? All right. This pizza slicer has gotten more referral business than anything I've ever done.
Wow. So because some people keep, you think?
What's that?
Because it's something people keep?
They keep it and it's usable over and over again.
And see, and I like the fact that you have your information on it because I have bags and bags and bags of swag, and probably 60% of it doesn't have anybody's name on it. And I'm like, oh, this was really nice. Who in the heck gave it to me?
But it's got to be something that's going to be used over and over again.
That's right.
Now, I just did one this week that I actually walked my neighborhood to this morning, 118 homes. Excuse me. School just started. I'm in a suburban Atlanta area, well known for its schools. So I created a magnet for the refrigerator that has the school district calendar and all the events.
Smart.
Okay? There's our contact information. So that went out to my neighborhood, and it's also going out to my contacts, clients, and sphere of influence who live in this school district, this county.
I love it.
Once again,
and along those lines, I used to do I probably have one in here somewhere, but it was a refrigerator magnet that was a dry erase board. It was like long and skinny, and it had all my contact information in it. But do you know how many times I sent it out when my kids are in elementary school to the entire school. And if you can imagine, every single time my kids would go into somebody's house, they're like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
But also what happened, our teachers are like, hey, do you happen to have more of those?
Right.
They needed them for the classrooms because they could have fun games, ask questions. A kid could write it on there, hold it up. But I ended anyway. I should do some more of them. I haven't done that in 12 years. I never thought about it, Mike, until you just brought up your calendars. But that was good. And I'd also give it to kids in open houses because so many times parents wanted time to walk through the house and the kid was like, mommy, mommy, mommy. So I'd be like, hey, is it okay? I'll sit here and play tic-tac-toe with them or something. so it works. But I love that.
Excellent.
Keep going, Mike. What else do you have?
Love it.
So creating
Well,
a recall. I love it.
I'm going to reemphasize, don't give away disposable goods and expect people to remember you for it.
Amen.
It's just not going to happen. Now, everybody and their brother,
too,
including us, has done koozies. That's great. Now, we did a little different one. We did one to hold skinny cans, right? The Trulies and all those. And then for all of our clients on their birthday, we deliver them either a skinny drink or a split of Prosecco in their card. So, it goes back to that something that's going to have staying power and create recall.
No, I think that's awesome. I think that's, I have a hard time with swag at conferences and figuring it out. And last year, maybe 2 years ago, I did microphones for your phone, so you can do your videos and stuff, which I thought was good, but man, that was expensive. But you're right. Something that people will use and they'll keep with them all the time. Right. And think about you.
Yeah. Also, I think definitely like the reusable thing is super huge because I'm definitely tired of pens. And so I hope people don't give away so many pens. I feel like you get a lot of pens, but, I think a lot of also, I have one agent that does a lot of really good pop buys. And I think we do a good job of just, staying true to kind of the things that he loves. And, so I help him, with these pop buy bags all the time. And we do thematic things, which I think are really fun, so we'll make one card and then we'll get something that kind of goes with it. And he's really good at shopping the dollar stores and getting that stuff. But, I think the important thing with it is, and along with everything you give out is, and going back to what I said about it, is just making sure it just kind of stays kind of, true to who you are and kind of what you're trying to put out in the world, because there is certain swag that you wouldn't want to give out and you would want to give out, just depending on what you're trying to do, so, so again, going back, like to the example of me, I'd be giving out lots of outdoors related things because I'd want people to, remind me of that or remind them of me with that stuff. So I'd be giving away, maybe it's the seeds or the little tree starters or things like that are kind of really memorable and outdoorsy that, they're not being given away by anyone else.
Yeah, I think that's good. And you were talking about pens. Sandy McAlpine, one time at a conference, I needed a pen, and she's like, "You might hate me. This is the only pen I have," and it was literally like this long, and it was like, "I might not be the biggest, but I'm the best." It had some sort of slogan on it, and she was like, "No, keep it." And I promise you, I cannot lose that pen. And wherever that pen is, whenever I'm trying to find a pen, that is the one pen that I even went to a listing appointment with it. And people looked at me like I was crazy with this huge pen. But something like that, I think, is good too, because I kept it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And every time I use it, but you're right, all these other little pens like you get from attorneys and stuff. I mean, I can't even read what it says on it, much less do I care. If it's a good pen, it's a good pen. That's good. So if anybody out there listening, if you have any good swag ideas or any good marketing ideas, anything that you've done that worked, please put it in the message. We would love to hear from you. And is there anything else? So Mike, I like you came in and you were talking about, the brand, which we already have established, and then setting up that recall, which I think you're 100% right? Things that people will know and recognize and keep and think about you.
Well, everything at my advanced stage, I limit my business to my sphere and referrals I get from our groups and stuff, but it's consistent. You got to be consistent with your message. For example, on your social media, you don't want to have 4 different pictures of yourself. It's got to be consistent. Let people know who you are. Now, I'm in the process. I had to recreate a Facebook page because I got hacked a few weeks ago in the middle of the night. Somebody stole my page. I can't access my old account on my phone, which is where I do 90% of my social media anyway. So I recreated a new account, and it's a painfully slow process because people think that your friend request is a clone. All right. I'm trying to rebuild that with all the old stuff, the old pictures, the recognition of our home picture, etc. But I'll emphasize again, consistency. The birthday things, it's not one and done. It's every year.
That's
All
right.
right. At Christmas or the holidays, the winter holidays, I don't know if you've all ever heard of a Kringle. Have you ever heard of one?
No.
Do you have Trader Joe's by you?
Yes.
Go to Trader Joe's right after Thanksgiving. They sell this Danish pastry called a Kringle. The greatest thing ever. I've given those out to my clients for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
And I used to order them O&H Danish company in Wisconsin. They're $24 a piece now, plus shipping. I walk into Trader Joe's a couple years ago. They're selling them for $7.99. And I'm like, what the? So I wrote the company and said, hey, I'm a loyal customer. I buy 200 to 300 of these every year.
Wow.
And you're selling them for a third of what I'm paying for. What's up? They never responded.
Of course not.
So I had my own personal protest that year. I bought the competitive product. It wasn't near as good. So the next year I come back with my head between my legs. But as soon as Thanksgiving gets here, I buy as many as I can. They're $9.99 a piece now. I stock my freezers, my secondary refrigerator, my neighbor's freezer, because we send out 300 to 400 a year.
Wow.
And I hand deliver them. It's a week-long process, but they remember you for it.
Yeah.
And one $10 pastry can get you a
Here's a long way.
$1,000 listing.
Yeah, I think people just like to be remembered.
Yeah.
Look,
I like what you say about consistency. I said it before. I like what you say about your personal deliveries. That's something I'm always pushing the agents in the office to do here, to make sure they're going and making those personal connections. So I like what you said about actually physically delivering those. We get some agents here who sometimes they like to do the drop and run, and so they'll do a pop by and then they'll run away from the house. And I'm always saying, hey, come on, ring the doorbell, say hi, make sure you're making all those personal connections. I think that's, those are really important. So, and your food idea is really good. I like that. That reminds me of the Brian Buffini breaking bread kind of thing. So I think those are all really great ideas. So
they just waved at you, Liz.
I was ignoring. I was trying to. Yeah, I agree with you. And to be clear, I'm one of those people that drop and run because I hate Popeyes as far as my personal, like somebody stops on my house uninvited. I can promise you I'm going to either be in my pajamas, my house is going to be dirty. I'm going to have wine, like too many glasses of wine. Something's going to happen where I'm embarrassed. And I don't receive that well when people just drop in. Actually, it kind of frustrates me. And everybody that knows me knows that about me. So, I mean, call me and give me a heads up, but just to pop by, I don't know. So maybe I think I project my personal dislike of it onto others. So I do the drop and run, but then I send them a text and say, hey, check outside. I just delivered this to you.
You got to do what works for you. Some people, believe me, that I have clients that I don't want to see, so I may deliver theirs at 5 a.m. Oh, sorry, I missed you. Yeah. But like today, when I delivered the calendars to the neighborhood, all right, I did some in the morning and then I did most of them this afternoon when they're standing out there waiting for the bus for their kids to get off the bus. Oh, hey, good to see you again.
Yeah.
You know what? School started. Here's a handy calendar.
That's smart.
School system you can have in one place.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Let's see here. Derek says he did wrapping paper and dropped them off at a race. Yeah, that is sweet.
Good job.
I think that's an excellent idea. I had thought about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I had forgotten about it. Thank you, Derek. Because I think that's a great. We do pies. I mean, we do things, but I think consistency is super important, like you said, because people say, "Hey, Jennifer, which day are we doing the pie pickup this year?" Like right before Thanksgiving, and we'll switch on days sometimes depending on when it falls and whether it be a Sunday or a Monday or a Tuesday, depending on what's happening. But I think consistency is the key.
Yeah, and that's what, like Mike was saying, you want to stay top of mind, and consistency is just top of mind. I mean, that's why, when we watch the Olympics on Peacock, my wife and I are watching the Olympics the other night, and every commercial break was the same kind of coffee creamer.
Yeah.
That there, we were joking about, like, does this make us want to buy that coffee creamer or not? but keeping that top of mind, because, we're all fighting top of mind battle versus, someone wakes up in the morning and they have so much on their mind. They're thinking, I got to buy shoes for my kids. I got to go grocery shopping. I do this. And so they're thinking about Dick's Sporting Goods, or they're thinking about, Trader Joe's, and they're thinking about all these other things, in their head. And so we have to constantly, make them think about, A, think about housing, and B, think about us related to housing. Right. And so that's the challenge. And that's, and I know that even in the last 4 years, we were teaching, okay, it takes, 12 to 15 touches to, get someone to convert someone to a client. Now, the latest training I did with KV Core, they had a 33 touch program, and that's, and so just to think about, how much we're being hit with information on the internet. And, we spend, like any other family, way too much time sharing reels with each other now, so we're thumb scrolling like crazy at night. And so you think of all the data that people are hit with. And so they're just being, their mind share is being scattered everywhere. So to stay consistent in what you're doing and making sure you're hitting them enough times that they think about, again, A, housing, and B, you, when it comes to housing is really important. So I think that consistency side is just
especially now, especially now when our unit sales are like everybody else's, we're down 50% in unit sales over the last 4 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. You got to hit it harder now than ever before. We got 45,000 realtors in Atlanta Metro. Okay. How many of those are doing what we're doing? You got, it may not show immediately, but boy, when this market starts turning back to normal, we're going to be in prime position. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're still in a market where we have in our area under 2 months supply.
Yeah, we do too. Yep, we do too. But that is shifting in a lot of markets, because I've talked to a lot of people in Florida that are starting to see short sales. I talked to 2 agents in New York that are starting to see short sales. So it's, I do think we're on the brink of start seeing that shift.
Yeah. No, in here, if it's under 700,000, it's at asking or above with multiple offers. Yeah. But if it's over 900, it's a big different story.
Yeah.
Now, part of the reason too is our schools start August 1st. The people moving for schools have already done so. But you got to keep hitting it, because when the dam breaks, you want to be in position.
Amen. Yeah. Right? You're setting those seeds, right? You're planting, sowing, setting the seeds.
Yeah, right. 100% agree with that. That's, I get tired of people saying, well, I'll wait until the market turns, then I'll spend some money, and I feel like, I started a business, not a real estate business, but a retail business during the 2008 kind of recession. And that was my attitude was, if I can make it now, I can make it anytime, and that's the investment that you want to make in this time. That's going to grow your business. So I've been pushing that around the office as well.
Robert says, good information, Mike.
Thanks, Bobby.
I definitely think it's important to do it now. You're 100% right. I started in real estate 2007, and that same conversation you just had with yourself, Adam, I had to with my mom. She was like, I cannot believe you would start real estate right now. And I was like, well, I'm learning from the ground up. It's best time to start. And I truly believe that. I think it's the same thing now, but I definitely think when the market starts shifting and slowing down, that is not the time to save your money. Now, let's be clear. It's also not the time just to waste it. But if there are opportunities, you do need to continue marketing and branding.
Right.
Yeah, it teaches you to be low markets, just teaches you to be efficient in what you're doing, and making sure that when you are choosing your swag, you're choosing the right thing that you're going to do. You're not just being frivolous about it. So, but yeah, I would encourage anyone to. This is the time to double down, especially if you have more time too, right? If you're doing fewer sales, then this is the time to build up your social media. This is the time to, write more blogs for your website, to work on your SEO, because SEO is a 6 month to 12 month kind of, business in terms of getting that ranking, increased. And so these are all the times where you're layering in all those things. So as you get busy later on, then it becomes part of your life and a part of your habit that you're doing. And so, what you don't want to do is wait till you get busy. Suddenly you're selling you have a bunch of clients, selling a bunch of houses, and then you'll never be able to implement.
Because you're too busy to do it. I agree. And I think, especially for like new agents, my biggest advice is this time of year when it starts slowing down is the best time to go ahead and get your systems in place, get everything in place so that and that's usually when I hire people. Usually I like to hire people, staff, agents around November, December, January when it's slow, because I have time to really train them. But I think that's a good, anytime it's slow, I'm taking advantage of the opportunity. Like you're saying, build out your website, build out your SEO, go ahead and get things in place. So when you get busy, you can just take off.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely. Yeah, it's like that, like I was saying about the pipeline, and we talked about new agents, and that's why I encourage new agents to really think about setting up their business in this pipeline manner, because it's harder to go back and plug those leaks as you've moved down that pipeline. So making sure that when it comes to branding, you get that set now, so that down the road you're not having to worry about that and worry about whether or not that's affecting your business.
no, I think that's very, very smart. So then, to wrap it up, advice that you would give. You've been giving advice all along, but just sum it up in like a sentence. Go for it. Who wants to go?
Sentence is hard. I think the big thing, I see with entrepreneurs is just, being willing to invest in themselves. I see that a lot here, at the office, where especially new agents come on and they think it's going to be a low barrier of entry of getting in, because, like when you're I told you I started a retail store before, that was $200,000 of inventory, which is a $200,000 home equity loan that I took out, and so, you have to, where, real estate may be a lower barrier to entry initially, but to really be clear that it is a business and you need to invest in yourself. And it's very, very important to believe in yourself enough that you're going to have confidence that you're going to invest in yourself and make yourself, give yourself the best opportunity to succeed by doing that. So that's, one of my big things I preach around here is making sure that you invest in yourself as much as you can. That's both investing yourself in marketing resources and things like that, but also in professional development and all these other things that you would talk about.
Right.
100%.
Well, the main message I have is, and there are times when I get lax, when business is real good, you kind of lose focus on the little things, the blocking and the tackling, but it's very important. While the other people sit, you just don't quit.
Oh, I like that. I might make all these signs. I've got one that said last week I want to put up, and that's a good one too. When other people sit, you don't quit. I like it. That's very good. I think thank y'all. Y'all did excellent.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having it. Yeah, it was fun.
Absolutely. I'm glad. And Mike, I'm glad you finally got on here. I've been wanting you to get on here. So thank you for doing it. I appreciate you. And Adam, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you both.
Likewise, Adam. And thank you, Jennifer, for having me. It was a blast.
I can't wait. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
All right. See ya.